Best Ford V8 engine you've never heard of. When you think of power, performance, and American automotive history, Ford's V8 engines stand at the forefront. From the roar of the Mustang's engine to the raw power of the F-150, V8 engines have defined generations of car enthusiasts. But here's the question. Out of all the V8 Ford has ever produced, which ones are truly the best? What are the engines that not only powered cars, but also left an indelible mark on the automotive world? Ford has a long-standing history with V8 engines, tracing back to the early days of American car culture. While Cadillac introduced the first V8 engine, it was Ford that made it popular, affordable, and accessible. Over decades, Ford has introduced a wide range of V8 engines that have powered some of their most iconic vehicles, from the Mustang to the Ford GT and F-150. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the best Ford V8 engines ever made. And if you're as passionate about cars as we are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your fellow car enthusiasts, and let's keep this conversation rolling. Buckle up and get ready to explore what makes these V8 engines legendary. 427 cubic inches big block. The 427 cubic inches big block, which is by far one of Ford's most famous and powerful engines. When you think of iconic Ford engines, the 427 cubic inches big block stands out as one of the most legendary and powerful V8 to ever roll out of Dearborn. But what makes this engine such a showstopper? Originally derived from the 390 cubic inches FE-V8, the 427 cubic inches was Ford's answer to the increasing demand for raw power, particularly in motorsports. This wasn't just an engine upgrade, it was a complete transformation. Ford engineers strengthened the 427 cubic inches with a forged crankshaft and a high nickel iron alloy block, adding a solid lifter valve train to ensure it could handle the intense demands of racing. What really set the 427 cubic inches apart, though, was the side oiling system, a clever innovation that kept the engine lubricated even under extreme G-forces, making it perfect for circle track racing. This attention to durability allowed the engine to maintain its performance during long, grueling races, a critical factor in its motorsport dominance. But let's talk numbers. In street trim, the 427 cubic inches produced a staggering 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. That's more than enough to send any full-sized car rocketing down the road. And while only a handful of street cars, like the Ford Galaxy or Mercury Marauder, were lucky enough to get this engine, the real magic happened on the racetrack. Here, the 427 cubic inches was often modified with high-rise and mid-rise heads, which could boost the horsepower figures significantly, sometimes pushing it into the 500 to 600 horsepower range. In some ultra-tuned drag race setups, the power from this engine could even skyrocket to 2,500 horsepower. And who could forget the 427 Camry? This was Ford's attempt to push the boundaries even further by introducing a single overhead cam design, abandoning the traditional overhead valve setup. While this version of the 427 cubic inches never quite caught on in NASCAR due to strict rule changes, requiring cars with the camera to carry a 430-pound ballast, the innovation didn't go unnoticed. It cemented Ford's reputation as a performance powerhouse. Perhaps the greatest claim to fame for the 427 cubic inches big block was its 1966 Le Mans victory. Nestled under the hood of the Ford GT40, the 427 cubic inches helped secure Ford's historic win over Ferrari, forever marking its place in racing legend. The engine proved that Ford could compete with and beat the best in the world. In the end, the 427 cubic inches big block is more than just an engine. It's a symbol of Ford's relentless pursuit of performance. Boss 302. When it comes to Ford's best V8 engines, the Boss 302 stands out as a true racing legend. But what makes this engine so special? For starters, it was purpose-built for Trans Am racing in 1969 and 1970, an era when high revolutions per minute and sustained performance on the track were crucial. You might be wondering, what's the big deal with a 302 cubic inch engine, especially when it shares its name with the standard Ford 5.0-liter V8? The answer lies in its exceptional engineering. The Boss 302 wasn't just another V8. It was crafted to be different. Ford paired the Cleveland-style heads with a unique block that featured 4-bolt mains, adding serious durability. The high-nickel iron block construction provided extra strength, a necessity when racing engines were pushed to their limits. Inside, the engine boasted sodium-filled exhaust valves, forged pistons, and a cross-drilled forged crankshaft, all designed to keep the engine running smoothly under extreme conditions. And here's the kicker. While it only produced 290 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque, which doesn't seem monstrous by today's standards, this engine was designed for high-revving endurance. Yes, the Boss 302 could hold 8,000 revolutions per minute all day long without breaking a sweat. This incredible durability made it a perfect fit for the Ford Mustang and Mercury Cougar, which dominated the Trans Am series, even clinching the manufacturer's championship in 1970. Another key factor that set the Boss 302 apart was its massive intake and exhaust ports. They were designed to optimize airflow, giving the engine more breathing room at high revolutions per minute. This made it an ideal candidate for track performance, rather than just sheer horsepower output. And while its power may not have blown away muscle car enthusiasts on the street, on the track, it was a game changer. In short, the Boss 302 was not just about big power, it was about sustained high performance. This unique approach made it a beloved icon in Ford's V8 lineup. From its carefully engineered internals to its historic race wins, the Boss 302 remains a testament to Ford's commitment to motorsport excellence. Flathead V8. Let's take a trip back to the 1930s. You may wonder, what engine set the foundation for Ford's V8 legacy? The answer is simple: the Ford Flathead V8. This was the engine that changed everything. Ford wasn't the first to make a V8, but they were the ones to make it affordable, practical, and iconic. Introduced in 1932, this was the engine that democratized the V8 and made it accessible to the masses. But what made it so special? Unlike other V8 at the time, which were complex and costly, Ford's Flathead was designed with simplicity in mind. It had a one-piece cast-iron block, a feature that set it apart from the multi-piece engines that dominated the market then. This made it cheaper to produce and more reliable over time. The engine was continually refined to address common issues like piston wear and oil consumption. Initially, the Flathead produced just 65 horsepower, but by the time World War II ended, it was pushing 85 horsepower. Although those numbers might not seem impressive today, back in the 1930s, this was a game changer. The Flathead wasn't just a technological marvel, it was a cultural icon. After World War II, returning servicemen brought back a taste for speed, and the Flathead became their go-to engine for hot rodding. Thanks to its simple design and robust construction, it was easy to modify. This engine sparked the entire aftermarket performance parts industry that we see today, with companies developing everything from carbs to camshafts specifically for the Flathead. Its influence didn't stop there. The Flathead was so dependable and modifiable that it found its way into everything from passenger cars to commercial trucks. This engine is more than just a piece of machinery. It's a symbol of innovation, passion, and accessibility. Sure, by modern standards, it's not the most powerful or efficient, but without the Flathead V8, we wouldn't have the hot rod culture, nor the foundation for so many of the incredible Ford engines that followed. So, when you ask, what are Ford's best V8 engines ever? It all starts here, with the Flathead V8, the engine that revolutionized not only Ford, but the automotive industry as a whole. .50-liter high output. As we move into the 1980s, Ford was looking to modernize its V8 engines to meet new performance and emission standards. When you think of Ford's best V8 engines, the 50-liter high output engine undoubtedly stands tall. How did it reshape Ford's reputation in the world of street performance? Introduced in the early 1980s, the 50-liter high-output engine started with a modest 157 horsepower, but that was just the beginning. Over the years, Ford engineers continuously refined it, boosting its power to an impressive 225 horsepower by the early 1990s. What really set the 50-liter high-output apart wasn't just its power figures, though. It was the transition from carbureted engines to electronic fuel injection in 1986. This change allowed for better fuel efficiency, smoother performance, and a more consistent driving experience. For the first time, Ford offered its Windsor V8 with electronic fuel injection, marking a new era of reliability and ease of tuning. This engine wasn't just about raw numbers. It became a staple for the Fox-body Mustang, and helped propel Ford into the modern performance age. With hydraulic roller lifters, better breathing heads, and a torque output of 285 pound-feet of torque, the 50-liter high output didn't just keep up with the competition, it set new standards. It was a favorite among enthusiasts and hot rodders alike, thanks to its vast aftermarket support. The ability to easily modify and tune the 50-liter high output made it a cornerstone of the performance scene for decades. So, why does the 50-liter high output still resonate with car lovers today? It represents a pivotal moment in Ford's history, bridging the gap between the old school and the modern age of performance engines. The Coyote. Finally, we arrive at what many consider Ford's best V8 engine ever, the Coyote. But what makes the Coyote so special? For starters, it was designed to bring Ford's Mustang into the modern era with cutting-edge engineering, setting new standards for performance. Introduced in 2011, the Coyote was part of Ford's modular engine family and brought back the iconic 50-liter displacement, specifically for the Mustang GT. Imagine 420 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque right off the bat. and that's just the beginning. But why stop there? Ford pushed the boundaries with this engine, incorporating twin independent variable camshaft timing on both the intake and exhaust valves. This level of control over the airflow allowed for incredible optimization between fuel efficiency and raw power. It's not just about brute force anymore. It's about efficiency and performance working in harmony. And it only gets better. By 2018, with the introduction of direct fuel injection, the Coyote saw its output boosted to 460 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. That's nearly 100 horsepower per liter, an extraordinary feat for any naturally aspirated engine, especially in a mass-produced car. Ford didn't stop there, though. The Coyote's block is all aluminum, webbed for extra strength without adding weight, and its advanced DOAC heads are designed for optimal air and fuel flow. Want more? Let's talk about the special variants of the Coyote, like the Boss 302 Roadrunner engine, which bumped up power to a whopping 444 horsepower, or the Voodoo 5.2-liter flat-plane crank engine, offering an incredible 526 horsepower. And let's not forget the supercharged Predator engine, delivering a jaw-dropping 760 horsepower in the Mustang Shelby GT 500. Whether you're looking at raw power, efficiency, or tunability, the Coyote checks all the boxes. It's a dream for enthusiasts, with a robust aftermarket supporting endless modifications. It's not just a powerful engine, it's the most refined, reliable, and power-efficient V8 Ford has ever produced. If you're wondering which V8 to crown as Ford's greatest, the Coyote might just take the throne. From the revolutionary Flathead that democratized V8 power to the modern marvel that is the Coyote, Ford's V8 engines have left an indelible mark on both the streets and the racetracks. Each engine in this lineup represents a different era of innovation and performance. Whether it's the iconic 427 cubic inches big block that ruled motorsports or the Boss 302 that became a track legend, these engines have not only powered cars, but also fueled the dreams of generations of enthusiasts. So, what do you think? Which Ford V8 is your favorite? Is it the historic Flathead, the motorsport-dominating 427 cubic inches, or perhaps the modern Coyote? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, whether you're driving a classic Mustang or a modern F-150, the roar of a Ford V8 is a sound that will continue to echo through automotive history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos on Muscle Car Masters channel. We'll see you in the next one, where we dive even deeper into the world of automotive performance and American muscle cars history. See you next videos.